everybody. Hope you guys like the new intro. I'm Jeffrey, and I'm at it again with another book review. This time we go a little further down the Jungian rabbit hole with The Eden Project by James Hollis. James Hollis is a psychoanalyst and the executive director of the Jung Educational Center. He's written tons of books, and I really enjoy his writing style. It's kind of poetic and mythic without being too inaccessible, which is, as I've mentioned before, a problem that Jung himself had. Needless to say, I am looking forward to diving into this book, so let's get going. Okay, so The Eden Project is about relationships, which means that it might as well have been co-authored by Nicholas Sparks himself. Okay, so that was kind of a lie. Hollis's book isn't here to tell you how to woo the guy or gal who is the apple of your eye, or how to restore your crumbling relationship in 5 easy steps. This is a book that goes so much deeper than that. Basically, the Eden Project takes certain trite, dusty nuggets of wisdom, such as you can't hold someone else responsible for your own happiness, and you're just in love with being in love, and it manages to breathe new life into those cliches. It unpacks them and articulates the logic behind why they're true, and anchors them in the framework of depth psychology. And because of all that, the book kind of serves as an antidote to the sometimes dangerous ways that we see romance portrayed in movies, TV, music. The Eden Project is not shallow, and even though the book looks to be slim, it's actually really dense with ideas. It invites you to reconsider what expectations you're carrying into your relationships, romantic or otherwise, and how those expectations might sow the seeds of bitterness, rage, hatred. To really understand what the book is getting at, you have to understand what I'm going to call the phenomenological perspective, which would be the subjective human experience stripped of all scientific, highly conceptual ways of understanding the world. It's a far cry from our evolved tendency to categorize objects in space or rearrange abstractions endlessly. From the phenomenological perspective, the line between what's happening inside and what's happening outside is blurred, maybe even non-existent. Instead, the world is experienced as a parade of color and sensation, and it's kind of this organic flowering and wilting of experience. It's a dance of chaos and then stability. It's ultimately a very narrative, action-based, natural way of perceiving the world. So as I understand it, the thesis of the book is that when you are an infant and this phenomenological perspective is all you have, you at some point transition from a womb-like state of wholeness and sufficiency and ultimate connection into a state where you realize that you are isolated and separate, just a lonely creature floating through the cosmos. Basically, in that phenomenological framework, there's a distinction created between the self and the other. And the template for the other is usually built out of our relationship with our early caregivers. Everybody knows that perfect parenting is basically a pipe dream, so inevitably, some need of yours is going to go unmet, and you will be wounded in the process. We end up developing our own personal strategies for rectifying and addressing these wounds, such as acting out, disassociating, keeping the other at arm's length. The problem is that we carry those same strategies forward into the world even as our brains fill with fancy concepts and we grow older, because in some weird way, we're still occupying that same phenomenological arena. As we develop our coping strategies and as we build up these walls between self and other, we ironically end up isolated from ourselves. We cling to maladaptive patterns well beyond their expiration dates, and we send genuine parts of our personality to the gulags of the psyche. Of course, as James Hollis says, if there is a central law of the psyche, it is that what is unconscious will be projected. And that's one reason why we encounter rough waters in our relationships. We seek out that original state of phenomenological wholeness, the Eden in the book's title, through our relationships with other people. We tell ourselves that if we just found the right person, we could be whole again, and that we would finally be, in some sense, home. Sometimes we even act as if finding the right person could somehow retroactively justify all of the suffering that we have faced in the course of our lives. We expect people to align with an image that is being projected from within us, and we get disappointed when they fail to meet that standard. We get angry, we get resentful, we punish them, we grow distant. The ultimate takeaway of the Eden Project is a beautiful one, but I think it can be a tough pill to swallow. Here's one passage that I think summarizes that takeaway pretty well. If we are courageous enough to say, "Not this person, nor any other, can ultimately give me what I want, only I can," then we are free to celebrate a relationship for what it can give. The paradox lies in the fact that the other can be a means through which one is enabled to glimpse the immensity of one's own soul. Now, I'm especially fascinated by this idea that your unconscious expectations of others can tell you something about what you have repressed within yourself. If you are expecting your romantic partner to provide you with a sense of self-esteem, that can actually be a call to adventure. It can summon you to cultivate a sense of confidence all on your own. And engaging in that work might be the only way that you can really appreciate people as they are and then give them the gift of living your best life. As I said before, the Eden Project is really dense, and in this book review, I've only barely scratched the surface of what you can find in here. That being said, I do adore the book, and I highly recommend it to anybody who's willing to do that kind of intense personal work. If you're that kind of person, you can check out the affiliate link in the description. The book contains exercises and questions and case studies that you can use to approach and make sense of your own particular woundings. Anyway, that's pretty heavy stuff, so I'm off to cuddle my cat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking the video. I really appreciate every single one of you. Anywho, I'll talk to you next time. Ta-ta.